Hi, everyone. Welcome to Waste 360's Nothing Wasted podcast. On every episode, we invite the most interesting people in waste, recycling, and organics to sit down with us and chat candidly about their thoughts, their work, this unique industry, and so much more. So thanks for listening and enjoy this episode. Hi, everyone. This is Liz Bothwell from Waste 360 with Martin Matson from Volvo Construction Equipment and one of our 40 Under 40 winners from 2017. Welcome, Martin, and thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you, Liz. Good morning. I look forward to it, and thank you for the invitation.
So, Martin, we normally start in the beginning. So could you please tell us about your background and how you ended up at Volvo and within this fabulous industry?
Born and raised in Sweden, I came to the U.S. Summer of 2000. That was 21 years ago, obviously. Started with Volvo in an internship while I was still at the university in Sweden. So started with a summer job / internship with Volvo Construction Equipment here in the U.S. Then I moved back and forth between the U.S. and Sweden for a couple of years. And after graduating in Sweden, I actually moved back and got a full-time job with Volvo here in the U.S. So my entire career with Volvo has actually been here in the U.S. I've never really worked for Volvo in Sweden. Then I've had various roles on the sales side with Volvo Construction Equipment as a product manager, district manager, been in different application, sales / commercial roles with Volvo. And then since 2014, I've been the director of key accounts for Volvo Construction Equipment and 100% focused on the waste and recycling industry. So I handle the larger waste and recycling companies in the U.S. and Canada, both national players and regional companies. And then you could say I also act as sort of voice of the customer when it comes to the product offering we have at Volvo Construction Equipment tailored for the waste and recycling industry. So a lot of the feedback and input I get from the various customers that I work with on a daily basis gets fed into our product development process. We're one of the few in the industry that truly have a purpose-built waste handling offering when it comes to off-road equipment. So I kind of spearhead that and organize that for Volvo Construction Equipment. That's a quick background. In addition to that, I've also had the opportunity over the years to be involved with NWRA and EREF, which has been a great journey and continues to be a lot of fun, and it feels good to give back to the industry, being involved in those organizations. That's a sort of a quick background on what I've done over the last 20 plus years.
Oh, wow. Well, it sounds great. And I love what you said about the voice of the customer. And I think that's part of what makes what you're doing special. Can you talk about that a little? You've been around equipment for so long now. How do you ensure that your offerings are really designed to keep up with the needs of your customers and the industry itself?
Yeah, I would say we start with we work very close with the call it the fleet maintenance and operations teams at the various waste and recycling companies. And we've been very good at listening to the needs of the market. And for us in heavy equipment, waste and recycling is a very tough, demanding application to start with for heavy equipment. So we take that very seriously, and we take our equipment and put on some heavy-duty guarding packages, fire suppression, solid tires, and various special attachments. And we are trying to make it as easy as possible for our waste and recycling customers, in that when you come to Volvo, there's very few variables. Most of the offering is designed by us, factory installed, and dealer supported. So there's only maybe tires and certain attachments that will be specific to the application, and where we as Volvo may not be as involved. So we try to look at it full sort of the full circle, and that's been well received by the industry, and I would say we talk the lingo. So when it comes to customer, we always ask the questions that they ask their own people. How many tons do you move per day, and what do you do, and what's the material, and then we tailored our offering around that.
Well, that's great, and then you can just ensure you're delivering a product that they're happy with. I love that. And then
it's been working really well. Yes.
Oh, good. And then you've seen so many changes. Last time we chatted with you, it was a few years ago, but Volvo was launching a autonomous truck, a landfill compactor, a hybrid wheel loader. What's been happening since? How are those going? And what's on the horizon? I know that's a big question, Martin.
Yeah, no, that's a big question, but I think to start with, we're very transparent within the Volvo Group when it comes to press releases, news releases, and kind of on where we see things are heading. But yeah, since we last spoke, we're very proud that we launched a landfill compactor, and that's a new product and offering for us, and we're still learning a lot along the way, but that is a perfect example that came out of customer demand, and some of the key customers that we deal with they wanted an alternative, and I said, Martin, Volvo, you're very engaged in the industry, and we think you have the knowledge and the experience. You should look at this product, and we took that to heart and designed it and launched it, and that is now a fully commercial product that we offer. And that product has been working well. New products always come with some issues, and you learn along the way. But overall, I got to say we are very proud with the Volvo LC450 that we launched at Waste Expo 2019. So we're 2-3 years into it now. Then if we look even further ahead, yes, we got some electric machines that are being launched this year and next, and we are also working on various research projects around the world when it comes to autonomous electric solutions. And a lot of those discussions have actually been with some of the waste and recycling companies, because we see that would be a very good solution for them going forward. And when I say that, is a lot of the especially when it comes to, if we look at autonomous products, those would be ideal for logistics centers, ports, and so forth, and landfills. Those are kind of closed off environments with commercial traffic only, and doing a repetitive operation, and that's where we see that autonomous vehicles could probably be a good solution in the future.
Great. How far out do you think we are?
I think we're pretty far out.
Mm-hmm.
The short answer is I think we're pretty far out, and a lot of that has to do with acceptance, customer acceptance, and maybe acceptance from society. The technology and the solutions may be there, but are we ready as a community, as a society, as a larger companies to really take that on and plug that into all the other infrastructure that you already have. So I think we're going to start to see it here and there, and very specific applications, and then build from there. But like I said, the technology may be there already in certain areas and has to be refined a little bit, but it will be here before we know it. Let's put it that way.
Good, and that makes sense what you're saying. I know there's a lot to work through, and so we'll be watching for that.
Yeah.
You're also leading the auction committee for ERAF. That's so great that you're doing that. I know Brian and his team are very grateful for that. Could you tell me more about that role and how it's going?
Yeah, so I've had the opportunity to. I've been on the ERAF auction committee for quite a few years. I was asked to. I'm now the chairman of the ERAF auction committee as of going on the third year now. uh, for me personally, that is a great way to give back to the industry and to be involved. And if I just speak for Volvo for a second, is the mission and the values of EREF perfectly aligned with the mission and the core values of the Volvo Group. I mean, our three core values is, the quality, safety, and care for the environment. So when I look at what we and our other Volvo company, Mack Trucks, what we've done over the years, it's kind of like a no-brainer for us to be involved with EREF. And it's a great way to connect the dots and to also get certain companies, some of them are customers of ours that are not as engaged in the industry as a whole when it comes to associations like that. They see the value as well. And we have now grown that over the last few years. We're getting more and more companies to donate their time and events and so forth. And this year, like last year, there should be a good auction here coming up around Waste Expo times, and then we also have another event in the fall, in November, with the Fall Classic. So, I would say it's a great opportunity. I think it starts with supporting the science side of the industry, and like I said, the work of EREF perfectly aligns with what we do at the Volvo Group.
It certainly sounds that way, and I love EREF for the same reasons that you just noted. Their research-based data and the science behind everything, and it's all really rooted in science. And it was a big gap that the industry had for the longest time that EREF is filling now. So on behalf of the industry, thank you for supporting it so much, you and Volvo as a whole.
Yeah, thank you. And I would maybe not in closing on EREF, but we are one of the companies that we use a lot of that data and that information that EREF has produced over the years. And when we look at product development and new offerings and maybe some of this new emerging technologies that we're working, we lean on EREF and use the information that they produce. So that's the real value right there.
Definitely. And so you mentioned the auction obviously being at Waste Expo. It's coming up quickly in June, and it's always a big highlight there. What are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, so this year we're doing a virtual auction again. We did that last year. It worked out well. I think we learned a lot from it. So the auction will open up here mid-June and sort of close around end of June, when at the end of Waste Expo. So now we're getting into executing on and firming up all the various donations and making sure that people and companies are aware of how the auction is going to work this way this year. And I would say that the work that's been done by Brian and his team and Caitlin and so forth at EREF has been phenomenal. And what I would say is to the industry is be on the lookout, because between now and end of June, there will be a lot of information, and especially on the logistics and how it works and how you participate. And there's various ways to do that. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible, since we are not going to be together live in front of all the various donation at Waste Expo. But like I said, it worked last year, and we learned a lot from it. So we hope that look forward to there will be a good auction again this year.
Great. I think so too. And it really feels like things are opening up and people want to reconnect. That's the feedback we're getting. Are you hearing the same, Martin?
Yes, we're hearing the same. And we talked to some customers already this morning. They look forward to meet in Las Vegas here when Waste Expo is coming up end of June. And Volvo, obviously, we're going to be there. We're going to be an exhibitor, and we look forward to meet people again. And I would say that, yes, I sense the same within the industry. This has been we're not through this yet, and we're going to do this in a very safe way. And obviously various companies and organizations have different travel restrictions and whether you can meet in person in somebody's office or not, and we all respect that. But you can sense, like you said, that people want to get out again and meet face to face. And I always say that I'm in the heavy equipment business, but at the end of the day, this is a relationship business, and it's about the people. So we certainly look forward to connect with people in Las Vegas and at other future events going forward, of course.
Definitely. And so you're really first in line around technology, and I know that you always have your ear to the ground, and like I said, you always listen to your customers. Are there any technologies or innovation that you're really paying attention to that will propel the industry forward, even if it's beyond heavy equipment? What are you noticing, Martin?
Yeah, so one big thing for us is safety, and that's obviously a big focus of the industry. And I feel that that is one where we shine and try to really listen. And we have done a lot over the years and continue to add when it comes to safety aspects. And if I look at the space that we are in when it comes to heavy equipment, no area is more important than the other. So we have really taken a step when it comes to stuff like ground level servicing, so that people don't fall off our equipment. Orange handrails. We pay a lot of attention to lockout, tagout, for example. We have a rotating beacon on our equipment that is always on when there's power to the machine. Rear view cameras, even now side view cameras or forward looking cameras, LED lights. These are all areas that have sort of grown over time, and there's not a meeting that I'm not in where we get those questions. So what else are you doing in terms of the safety aspect? And I would say that that's something you're never done with that, and it's something you have to think about on a daily basis. But I am proud of that we are really contributing there and taking that very seriously at Volvo, and I know that others are following suit as well.
Definitely, and the industry is really focused on it, like you said. And whenever I think of Volvo, I do think safety first. So I love that you said that's part of your core value, and it really is what you guys are living. So it's good to see it's focused within this industry as well, because I think we all would love to get out of that top 10 list, right? That's not a good top 10 list to be on.
Correct. Yeah. You certainly want to be on certain top 10 lists, right? But that is not the one that you want to be on, and we shouldn't be there. And I think it's we all try to contribute to that. And like I said, that work is never done, and it should be part of your culture and everyday thinking. But yeah, we same within our product development process. When we look at new offering, whether it's a hard product or a soft offering, the safety aspect is always part of that process. And I think we can be proud that when we look back at what our equipment and offering looked like 5, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of those areas, while they may sound small, they are not. And like I said, there's always things to work on, but we do put that first a lot. So,
well, it's great to hear, and you're definitely living that for sure.
Yeah, thank you. No, yes, we do. Yes, we do.
That's great. So, the pandemic, how has that affected your work, Martin?
I would say first and foremost, I'm in one of those roles, like many of us in the industry. I travel every week, and obviously that did not happen. Last year I was home a lot, and it turned out to be okay. And I think for us at Volvo is that we have very strong relationship and partnerships with the larger waste and recycling companies, as well as the regional companies that we do business with. And they were under the same travel restrictions and working from home that I was. So we were actually able to, in one way, getting a hold of each other easier and work through it. The other thing that we did, and I know a lot of other things, we wanted to make sure that we continued to service our customers. So a lot of our focus, if I look back a year, was parts availability and service capabilities. We wanted to make sure that our customers can get to us and that we can get to them. And obviously, the waste and recycling industry is an essential business. So almost immediately, when it comes to parts on the shelf and parts availability, we stepped that up, and we had very few hiccups, if any, when it came to the flow of parts and so forth. Then, and yeah, when everything locked down, there was a bit of a standstill called. But then after a while, I wouldn't say that it was back to business as usual, but we had to continue to service our customers just like our customers had to service their customers. And yeah, we did a little different, but the year ended up to be a good year, and I think we learned a lot from it. Then the one negative would maybe be it was hard to maybe develop some new relationships and some companies and organizations that we had started to work with, and they are not that familiar with us. That's challenging because there are certain things that you need to cover face to face. And if I look at where we are now, we're starting to do that more. I'm one that have been on a few trips already. We do it in a very safe way, or we meet outside, or we arrange for a large meeting room at a hotel with very few people, and we obviously adhere to the guidelines that are out there. But it's good to be back out again and to meet people and companies again.
I feel the same way. And we'll get there. And like you said, we're not out.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we're making our way. But I feel like this industry is so resilient. And, you've mentioned, you heard the Bill Caesar podcast, and I know we talked about it as well. But what's nice about it, a silver lining, right? A lot of heartache came out of the pandemic, but at least our industry was deemed essential, and it was nice to sort of elevate the position of the industry again with the sort of general public, I should say, anyway.
Yeah, so that's something I always. It's the people that makes this industry unique, and I have the opportunity to get to know a lot of those people over the years, and we get these curveballs thrown our way every now and then, and we kind of we adapt, and we find different ways of meeting and doing business and servicing our customers, and I think we did that well. We were certainly not perfect last year, but I think we can say that most of the obstacles we overcame, and we did a fairly good job last year. We learned from that this year.
I think a lot of people have, for sure. And I know we talked about Volvo values aligning with EREF, and I know one thing that Brian and I spoke about was this sustainability future, right? I mean, the industry has always been the first environmentalists, but EREF, really their mission is focused more on sustainability as well. And I know for us at Waste 360, it's a big focus of ours. Are you finding that at Volvo, or has that just been part of your story and now you just have to communicate it more? How are you feeling about sustainability and ESG and the work that you're all doing?
Yeah, I think we've always been doing it in a way, and we've sort of always lived that, and we've always reported, even in our, if you look at when we do an annual meeting or our quarterly reports, we always have that as a component, our sustainability efforts and projects. I would say what's a big change we see is that now we see customers requesting that more, where maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago it was one of those, that's great that you're working on that, but how does that help me? Now there's a turn there where, especially when we do quarterly meetings or annual meetings with various customers and organizations, that is at the top of the agenda. Like they want to hear about what are your sustainability projects and efforts, and what can we learn from that to incorporate into our own organization. So we have a big meeting coming up here next week, and that's one of the main topics for that meeting. Whereas maybe in the past that would have been Martin talking about the latest and greatest excavator that Volvo was offering. So while we're still talking about that, and we love to talk about our product portfolio, the sustainability efforts, emerging technologies, safety, those are topics that are at the top of the agenda for many of the discussions that we have.
I bet. Well, and it's great you're hearing that from customers as well. I think in our industry and even in the consumer side of the world, they're demanding more and expecting more. So it's great in general.
Yeah, and that makes us, keep us on our toes and make sure that we are working on the right thing. Because I always say there's no reason for us to develop things or come out with new products or services that the customers don't need or see value in. So that kind of speaks to that we were onto something and that we're working on the right initiatives, I guess is the best way of putting it.
So as a 40 under 40 winner yourself, what advice would you give professionals entering this industry?
I would say always try to find a few mentors within the industry, and I would say there are many of them. What I like about the waste and recycling industry is everybody is very down to earth, approachable, and take advantage of that. We may be competitors or on a day-to-day basis and so forth, but it's great to see that we share success stories and best practices, and I've had the opportunity to get to know personally some of the senior leaders from even the public and regional companies, and they're very approachable. They always have time for you, and I think that's again speaks to the people within the industry, and so that's where I've kind of learned the industry and the lingo, and I would say quite often I can pick up the phone and call some of those people and run an issue or a problem by them, and they always have time for you. So that I would say is the biggest advice is take advantage of that, the network, and get to know the industry inside and out, because this is a fun industry. It sort of gets in your blood, and again, it's the people that makes this unique.
It's so true, and the relationships you build, it's so close knit. And like you said, everyone.
And it's a small industry. It's a small industry after all. I mean, I look at what we do at Volvo for other segments or industries or customers, but yeah, everybody kind of know one another. They've been there, they've worked there, and they each have a unique story to tell. So take advantage of that and kind of pay attention to where the things are going. I would say the other thing is this is also an industry that is very eager and interesting to hear about new technology. They don't mind to be the first to try something, even when something may not be 100% ready, and that says something. That they're willing to develop products or services with you along the way that later will become a commercially available product. So the technology, and then of course the safety aspects. Those are two things that I take as a takeaway, I would guess, in my daily conversations with various people.
Oh, that's great insight. And then, can you just talk a little bit about why people should support the EREF auction?
Yeah, so I mean, the EREF is the science arm of the industry, and I think we get a lot of good data and information out of that. And like I said, from the Volvo, we support EREF, and I know many others do it because it's the right thing to do. It helps the industry as a whole, and we can each utilize and use that information at various levels within our own organizations. Then let's not forget the networking and learning from one another, and it's extremely valuable. And I just think that everything you do, regardless of how you participate and support EREF, it just drives the industry forward. And it's critical. I mean, without there's no other organization like it. And then it's a great group of people. I enjoy getting on these calls, and we meet at these events and talk about how we can make the industry better and safer. So I don't. There are no reason for not getting involved.
Absolutely. There's something for everyone, and it's for the greater good. That's awesome. And then, Martin, is there anything else you want to share before I let you go today?
No, I would say that I appreciate to be on. We're always here to help one another. If anybody listening that have any questions, feel free to reach out. Here we're sitting. I think we're recording this in mid-May. We got Waste Expo coming up. We hope to see you out in Las Vegas. We're gonna put on a good show and a good event. And I want to say thank you, Liz, for setting this up. I appreciate to be on, and we'll see you in Las Vegas, if not earlier.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, it was so nice chatting with you. Thank you for being generous with your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Happy to help.
Okay, great. If I don't talk to you before then, I'll see you at Waste Expo.
Will do. Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye, Martin. Thank you for listening. It would mean the world if you would take a moment to rate or review this podcast. And if you share it with us on one of our social networks, we are giving out some fun, nothing wasted podcast swag. So just tag us and see what you get. Thanks so much.